one of my greatest frustrations and concerns, even with the existential threats that face us, relates more to how we behave to one another. So Samuel Friedman's book, Jew versus Jew, to me, is prescriptive. It's telling us that in reality, we divide among ourselves. We divide around denominations. We divide around our passions for Israel. We're passionate about Israel, yet we use that passion to divide ourselves. And I've seen it in its most ugliest forms. I lived in Israel when Rabin was assassinated. I have been on campuses where people, students, and professionals were maligned by others in the community or elsewhere who had a different view. That stuff bothers me because it hurts the Jewish people. As much as we've achieved, as much as we aspire for a greater sense for the world, if we can't figure out, really, how to live with one another and our differences and to find beauty in that, that, to me, is a major concern. And by the way, it doesn't go unnoticed in history. In that essay, Modest Proposal, which everyone remembers because it was a political satire about, really aimed at the British Crown, with the poor Irish saying that they came up with an inventive way to deal with their economic crisis, that they were going to eat their children. It's a very famous essay. There's one line in rereading the essay that I find chilling. It says, it's a reference, it said that the Jews were busy killing themselves as their temple was burning. It's one powerful reminder that even at the moment that Rome is under siege, we know from our history, and we know about the year 70, that as much as we had, existential threats facing us, that arguably one of our greatest downfalling was our inability to get along with one another. And so for me, I worry about that. I'm concerned about it. I see it in many different manifestations, largely in the adult Jewish community and organizational world and synagogue life. And yet I see among students a naturalness and a willingness to cross over boundaries. I love seeing when we were down in the first trips to Mississippi and New Orleans, having a student with tzitzit, doing retrofitting a house with a student that has tattoos on their arms, and at the end of the day, even though they're coming from two completely different worlds, studying a piece of Jewish text together, without judgment, without any other reason other than say we just did something together that we feel proud of, and now in order to process that, we're looking at a common text, one with someone who studied it extensively in yeshiva, and another who had never read Hebrew in their lives, and never, been able to, really understand a line in Hebrew. To me, that's a powerful statement. Not that the only way to do that is via a service project in response to a hurricane or a natural disaster, but it's a glimmer of hope. We should come up with 1,000 different ways to bring those same two students together, and those are extremes. We can also find lots of different forms to share, to promote, to merge, to cross-fertilize, all those different things, and find beauty and meaning and tolerance and acceptance and all that other stuff. But unfortunately, we often spend our time, in these mortal combats that take money, time, energy, resources, spirit away from the center of the community, and I think, frankly, push a lot of people out into the fringes.